This is a premium soft plastic swim bait. It costs $16 and is hand poured in California. Today, I'm testing soft plastic swim baits from 3 different brands at 3 different price points. By the end of the video, you'll see the most expensive swim bait you can buy, and I will tell you which one I think gives you the best value for your money. But first, let's start with the cheapest swim bait. So here's how today's challenge is going to work. We have our 3 different swim baits at 3 different price points. We are going to open each one out of the package. We're going to give an initial review, looking at how they're packaged, the information, how they feel. Then we're gonna tie each one on and fish with it for a 1-hour time period for each bait. During that 1-hour time period, I'm gonna be looking for a few different things. Number one, how is the swimming action? Soft plastic swim baits, if they're made too stiff with plastic, they actually don't swim properly in the water. There's a fine balance that you have to get that bait to perform properly. But number two, how durable are they? Like I said, there's that fine balance. If you make them too soft, you catch one fish, it rips, and then that bait is done and you waste a ton of money on swim baits instead of catching a lot of fish. And lastly, and most importantly, do they catch fish? We're spending a bunch of money on these baits, especially the most expensive one. We want them to actually catch fish. So let's put them to the test and see how many fish each one catches. And at the end, I will give you my opinion on which one I feel was the best value for the money throughout today's video and where I would spend my money if I were buying swim baits in the future. So let's get started with the first swim bait here, the Pro Swing Shad. All of these baits we're gonna fish on the same setup, just a topwater and jerkbait rod, a bait caster with 12-pound test straight fluorocarbon, and a 3/16 ounce finesse swim bait head. I'm gonna make sure I'm fishing all these on the exact same gear so there's no difference between a jig head or fishing line or anything like that. Now, this is the Pro Swing Shad. These come in at $3.99 a pack, and these are pretty much direct knockoffs of the Keitech Swing Impact. It even has swing in the name. I think it's really weird that they do that, but these are actually even made in the USA at that $3.99 price point. It says it right on the front here. These are all gonna be in the 3.8 size. This one is the Silver Flash Minnow. Comes in the same type of clamshell that the other ones do, and overall, the characteristics right out of the gate, it looks identical to that Keitech. But again, the softness of the plastic can drive how these baits perform. I have fished knockoffs to the Keitechs before, and they are made with too stiff of plastic and they don't actually swim properly. We're actually fishing in the winter up here and the water's very cold. You want your bait to fish very slowly on the bottom, and if your bait isn't soft enough, it will not swim at a slow enough speed to actually get bites. So this is a true test to see how well these baits swim today. Now, other than these having the color, the size, and that they're made in the USA, there is literally no other information on the package, which you don't really need much for a swim bait. You kind of just put it on a jig head and go fish with it. These do come in, like I said, at a price of $3.99 a pack, but you only get 5 in a pack. When you break that down, these are 80 cents per bait, which is pretty affordable for a swim bait. I know some other worms are even cheaper than that, but like a soft plastic swim bait that you can usually catch multiple fish with, 80 cents per bait is pretty reasonable if they actually perform properly. So let's get up on the front deck, let's put one of these on our jig head and do a quick action test in the water, see how it performs, and get our hour on the timer to start catching some fish. So let's try this again. I just filmed this segment, but I forgot to hit record. We have already rigged up one of our little swim baits here. The one thing I did note is we are not using super glue on any of these. I want to see how durable these baits are without any additives. I usually use super glue when I'm fishing a finesse swim bait. It keeps it up on that head a lot longer and you can catch a lot more fish doing so. But today we are going to fish them completely straight on the hook keeper there. So there's a triple barbed hook keeper underneath this finesse swim bait head here. It actually fits very well up on the head of the hook here. And the only thing left to do is a quick action test to see how it performs and get an hour on the timer and see if we can start catching some fish. Basically, all I'm gonna do is kind of drag this through the water and see how it works. And overall, it looks pretty solid. The action is a little bit different than the Keitech. It doesn't have like a wobble back and forth with the tail, and the head stays still. Actually, the head wobbles more, almost like a mag draft, and the tail kind of loops back and forth. It's still a very good action. Even with that harder plastic, it's definitely much firmer than a Keitech, but even with that, it swims very well, even at slow speeds. So I think we can catch some fish on it. The only way to find out is to get an hour on the timer and start fishing, but I feel pretty confident in this bait getting some bites. Let's see how it performs and how durable it is. All right, so we have our 1 hour right there ready to go. Let's go ahead and get to fishing with the Pro Swing Shad and see if we can catch us some fish. All right, we're down one already. So there's kind of a little challenge within the challenge here, because I only bought 1 pack of each of these, at the exception of the trash fish, because they only came in 2. So I bought 2 packs of those. So we only have like 4 to 6 of each of these baits. And if we run out, we run out, and we just lost the first one. So that's kind of a bummer. We haven't even caught a fish yet with it, and we got a snag, but we have 4 more to go. So hopefully they are durable enough and we can actually catch some fish on these and keep them on the hook and not in the rocks and the wood down there. Uh-oh, we got another snag already. This is not going well. It's literally been like 10 minutes and we have 2 snags. We might be down to 3 baits with literally 50 minutes to go. Oh, nope, I got it. Nice. That's what I wanted to have happen on the first one. Just bend the hook out. I can always just bend that back. Can't get a swim bait back if it's at the bottom of the lake. The bait actually didn't rip off the hook shank either, which is kind of impressive. Usually when you get it buried into a piece of cover like that, the bait just rips right off the hook. The tail wrapped over and got stuck on the hook. One thing I did do with all these swim baits is I kind of just turned them over and let the tail flop down like this. That kind of shows you how soft that bait is. If you get a bait that's really stiff, sometimes the tail will sit out at like a 90-degree angle instead of actually like loop over 180 and almost like touch the other end of the bait. But all of these ones, they were soft enough to flex over like that. There's one. Big one. Jeez, he lit that up. He's not too big, but we will take him. He's the first one on the swing shad. Gotcha. Not a bad one to get started with. Look at how he ate this bait. Like, it is down his throat. That is fish number 1 right there for the swing shad. It looks a little messed up on the hook, but we'll fix that. We're gonna go ahead and let her go and try and get back in there. Okay, so the bait twisted up just a little bit. The hook actually bent out, but I'll bend that back. All I have to do is rotate that back over. And that thing is good to go. There's no rips or anything on the bait, so it's ready to get back out there and catch us another one. Another one. Another one. This one feels good too. This one's bigger, that's for sure. All right, there we go. That one's definitely a little bit bigger. You can see he wanted that bait just the same, way down in her mouth there. They're eating the swim bait at least. And again, it is still on the hook keeper. It's just twisted up a little bit and the hook bent a little bit more. We'll bend that right back and be good to go. But that is a beautiful smallmouth and fish number 2 for the swing shad. We're gonna go ahead and let her go and get back to it. See you, girl. Same thing, I'm just gonna take this, twist it back into place. No super glue required so far. I'm kind of impressed with that. Usually, if you're using a Keitech, these things would be off the hook already. We'll bend that hook right back in just a little bit more. Get it back down there. And we got snagged. Nice. We broke that one. No. All right, we've lost 2 now. We still have 3 more, and we still have 20 minutes. So let's get lined back up here. We'll tie another one on real quick. See if we can get a bait back down in there and get one to bite. There's one. I don't think this one's as big. Nope, this one's a little one, but they all count. A fish is a fish. This one choked on it too. They really want this bait. I mean, even this little fish, he got it all the way down in his mouth there. They're just really interested in the action of this bait, I guess. Not a big one. We're gonna go ahead and throw her back. We have limited time left, and we're gonna see if we can get us a couple more to get some more numbers on this little bait right here. There's one. Got another one. Not a big one. That one also didn't bite it very hard, but we moved back after that snag and we got us another one. The bite wasn't hard, but he still choked on this thing. I mean, it is all the way down there. They want this thing so bad. It is so far down his mouth. That's not a big fish, and that's a 4-inch swim bait, and that is the end of our time as well. We ended it on a buzzer beater fish. Look at that. And that's gonna be number 4 for the swing shad. we're gonna throw him back and let's talk about it. So overall, I am actually very impressed with the Swing Shad. It actually performs very, very well, even though it's a knockoff. It swims great. And I think the durability is much better than a Keitech. I mean, none of those fish even pulled it down the bait itself. Granted, we caught 2 fish on 2 different baits, so it wasn't like all 4 of them were on the same bait, but the bait never really ripped. It never pulled down the hook shank or anything like that. It stayed on very, very well. It performed great. All you had to do was twist it back into place. It had a little bit different action than a Keitech, so sometimes that could actually be better if you're looking for something a little bit different than everybody else. And for 80 cents a bait, we did pretty good. I mean, we lost a couple of them to some snags, which sucks, but we very easily could have caught 4 fish on one bait, I bet. I mean, 20 cents a fish is not a bad price to pay at all, and I think we could have caught even more if we would have found some fish a little bit sooner. That's gonna do it for the cheap bait, so let's move on to the medium price point bait. That's about double the price of this guy. And before we get into the medium price bait, if you could head down below and hit the subscribe button. Only 14% of you that watch the channel are actually subscribed, and I'm trying to reach that 100,000 subscriber mark, so if you could help me out with that goal, that would be greatly appreciated. And I will have all the swim baits from today's video linked down below if you'd like to check any of those out or try any for yourself. But for now, let's talk about the medium price swim bait, which is the Keitech, this gold standard for swim bait fishing. This is like the bait if you're going to be fishing a soft plastic swim bait. It's probably one of the first baits that I ever used on a soft plastic swim bait rig. It swims amazing. I have actually used this bait before, but we're not gonna let that influence our findings from today's video. Now with this one, these are made in Japan, but other than that, there is really no information on here, just like the other one, other than the name, the size, and the color. This is the crystal shad color that we're gonna fish today. Comes in a very similar clamshell to keep the tail straight, which is very important. And they do look a little bit thinner than the other EcoPro ones right out of the gate, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're softer. The one thing to note with this one is that you actually get 6 baits per pack as opposed to 5, with the price point being $6.99 a pack. It seems like it's almost double the price of these guys, but when you throw in the extra bait and actually break it down, these are only $1.15 per bait. So it's only 35 cents more than those EcoPro baits overall if you were to just buy a bunch of them and break it down by cost per bait. So if this is actually a much better performing bait for the 35 cents, it would probably be worth it, but we don't know yet. We have to get up there and get to fishing this thing. So let's get this one tied on, do a quick action check, and get our hour on the timer and start catching some fish. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and put our Keitech on here, and then we're gonna do our quick action test again, and then we'll get an hour on the timer and start fishing. I'm gonna rig this up just like I did the other ones, and I can already tell you just by sticking this hook through this bait, it is much softer, like way softer than that EcoPro one was. It basically looks exactly the same on the hook because it is basically the exact same bait. This one is just a lot softer. So let's see how that affects the action, and let's see how it affects the durability and fish catchingness of the bait. So let's get up on the front deck and get to it. And it looks like it has more of a tail wag than a tail roll. So it kind of wags back and forth, and the head stays a little bit straighter. It doesn't move off course very much. It kind of stays very straight, and the tail just kind of wobbles back and forth. Overall, even at a slow speed, the action is roughly the same. I mean, it's not much different. It has a little bit different way that it kicks back and forth, but it's not like it's actually doing anything different in the water. It's still swimming straight. It still has the same kick. So let's get this thing out there and see what we can catch. Okay, so we have 1 hour ready to go on the timer here. I am going to start on this spot first, take a few casts, and see if the bait change makes a difference. We know there's fish in this area. If we start catching more fish, then that can be a prover that this bait is better than that Swing Shad. If we don't catch any or about the same, it's probably just the same, and we'll just keep covering water. And let's see how many we can catch on the Keitech Swing Impact. I do expect to catch more fish with this bait, just because it's like confidence bait for me, for one. I've caught so many fish on a Keitech Swing Impact, but I think that it swims a little bit better at slower speeds. I already have one. Literally my first cast up there. It's not big, but like literally my first cast in there, I got one already. That's crazy. I just fished there for literally 20-30 minutes with that EcoPro, and I caught 4, but my first cast with the Keitech, I get another one. We'll have to see if there's more up there, but we got one immediately. on the Keitech. You can see he ate that bait just the same, all the way down his face. He wanted it just like the other ones did. It is not a bad fish right there. We're gonna go ahead and get him back real quick, and then we're gonna fix our bait up and get right back in there. So this is the same thing that happened with the swing shad. It basically just spins it around a little bit. So we'll just straighten it back out. It looks like it tore just a little bit right there, a little bit more than the swing shad did, but it didn't actually rip off, and it's still ready to go catch us another one. So let's throw it right back over there and see if we can get us some more. There's another one. Second cast. This is insane. I threw that swing shad in there and nothing. Now we're getting them. I mean, not nothing, but we didn't catch a ton. This one's actually kind of nice. Got her. Another one. A good one too, right in the roof of the mouth, eating the swim bait, very good. Bait is still intact, so still holding up. Another decent one right there. That's a chunky fish. We're gonna throw her back and see if we can get us a third one out of there. Twist our bait back into place. No major rips, we're still in good shape. We're gonna throw it right back up in there and see if we can get us another one. We go 3 for 3. That would be awesome. Ah, we get a snag. I knew it was coming. Oh, that's not a snag, that's a fish. What? It's a giant. I thought it was a snag. I was trying to shake him off, and it's a really big fish. Yeah, he's pretty big. That's a big smallmouth. Gotcha. Look at that one. Oh my gosh, look at how tubby she is. Swim bait right in the roof of her mouth. Awesome fish right there. We're gonna get her off and back in the water and try and catch us some more. All right, 3 for 3. With the Keitech. Still no signs of wear. I mean, obviously there's a little bit, but like you can see a little bit of chewed up on the head, but it hasn't even pulled the bait down off the hook keeper yet. Another one. That's 4 now off this spot. Right where we were fishing the Eco Pro before. Is this a big one? Yeah, that's another big one. Got her. That is another awesome smallmouth right there. We've already tied what the Eco Pro caught, and I've made 5 casts, so that's pretty awesome. Still good to go right there. And that is a beautiful smallmouth that we're gonna go ahead and let go and get back in there. Bait's all still good. It is starting to rip right there. I still think I can get at least 1, if not more fish. I mean, I'm not gonna do the math on all of these on how many fish get caught with each bait and the price per fish, but if these are $1.15, there's another one. If these are $1.15 and I got 5 fish, we're already pretty much at 20 cents a bait, just like the other one. Is this a big one? Feels large. This might be the biggest one so far. Oh yeah, oh my gosh. Oh, it's a blimp. That is massive. This is huge. I'm gonna walk back here and grab this one. That is a blimp. Look at that smallmouth. Little Keitech right in the top of her mouth. She was not coming off. Still good to go. That's 5 fish in 6 casts, and the bait is still good to go. And that is a massive smallmouth right there. We're gonna go ahead and get her on the scale and back in the water and see if we can catch another one. Definitely starting to get a little ripped up. You can see now half of the hook bend is now showing right there, but it's still on the hook keeper and still able to be fished. Another one. She was barely hooked, but that is another tubby smallmouth right there. Roof of the mouth, little swim bait right there. We're gonna throw her back. That's fish number 6 with the Keitech here. Let's drop her back in the water and see if we can get us another one out of there. My bait is definitely starting to take a beating after 6 fish here, but it's still going strong. You can see it is ripped halfway down the hook bend now. I mean, literally just the head is hanging on. That bait is all chewed up on there, and it has seen better days, but as long as they're biting it, I'm gonna keep throwing it. Another one. This one feels big. Nope, not that big. I mean, it's a good fish, but it's not a giant. Alrighty. That is another one right there. Oh, the hook fell right out. Good thing I grabbed her quick. Another beautiful smallmouth. That is fish number 7 now with the Keitech. Such a change. The same spot, just a change in bait, and all of a sudden they're biting it. Just that little bit of action change. Let's go ahead and let her go. We will get back in there. Bye, buddy. So now our bait is looking very rough. So you can see right here, flipped completely upside down. It's all ripped up. I will just rotate it over and back. You can see how far that's hanging off, but that is still fishable. And I'm gonna get it back in there and see if we can get us another one. Another. That one smoked it. That's a big one. She's pretty chunky. She got smaller as she got closer to the boat. Way smaller. One of the smallest ones so far. Fish number 8 for the Keitech right there. Not a big one. Probably 2-pounder, but awesome looking fish. We're gonna throw her back and try and get us another one. Somehow this thing is still hanging on here. This is usually the point where I'd super glue them on, but like, my gosh, if this thing's still staying on, we're good. We're really approaching failure on this swim bait here. Within any cast here, we're gonna end up losing this bait. Another one. Looks like a big one. Yeah, it's a pretty big one. See if we can get her up here. Got her. That's number 8. They are chewing this thing so good. Look at that. Bait's all the way down in there. Get her back in the water and try and catch us another. Durability, still amazing on this bait. I mean, we're up to 8 fish and I'm still gonna throw this thing back out there. I mean, it is unreal how long this thing is staying on here. Here we go, we're done. So we just got our bait up here and it is ripped off. That is officially the end of the bait. You could super glue this on here and keep going, but we can't do that because we didn't do it with the rest of them. So we're gonna take this one off, put a new one on, and get back in there and see what we can keep catching. Okay, we have a fresh bait. I'm gonna go ahead and get this put on here. Good to go. A little bit crooked, but I think that's okay. We're gonna throw it up there. We'll find out if the fish mind if it's a little bit crooked. Another one. They don't mind if it's crooked. It feels large. Oh, he pulled off right there. No, I was putting too much pressure on him. Fish number 8. Doesn't count. I know he was right there, but I'm not counting it. Let's see if we can get number 9 and get her in the boat this time. Is that a snag? I think I got snagged. Nope, it came out. It came out and went into a fish? Haha, that's amazing. Literally snagged as soon as it pops off right into a fish's mouth. They must be piled up behind some rock or something down there. That is a big fish. Oh, I lost him too. No, still on number 8. Because that one doesn't count. My hook's sharp, I just didn't get a good hook set on him because I was worried about being snagged. Uh-oh. Stuck again. I think that's in a tree. Yep, broke that one. It's all right, we only lost 1 bait. There we go, finally got another bite. It took forever. We went like 30 minutes without a bite and now we got one. Got her. Nice. Finally, that is number 9. We lost 2 others. So we've had 11 total bites. We got another one on the little swim bait right there. That's a pretty decent fish. We only have a few minutes left, so we're gonna hurry up and get her back in the water and try and get back in there and see if we can get another one. Maybe we fired the school up and can catch us a couple more. Another one. Uh-oh. Is this a big one? Gotcha. Not a bad one. That's a pretty chunky one. That is number 10 now. Double digits on the swim bait. Nice one right there. Got some real orange fins. Super cool looking fish. We're gonna throw her on the scale and get her back in there and see if we can get us one more before time runs out. Let's get our swim bait all fixed up here. Again, starting to twist, but not coming off of the hook keeper, so we twist it right back into place. All right. That's time for this one. I figured we wouldn't get another one, but catching 10 fish on this bait is pretty impressive. So my thoughts on the Keitech. Granted, I've had fished with this bait before, but we weren't gonna let that influence our decision. But overall, I'm still very impressed with this bait. It is one of the gold standards for swim bait fishing for a reason. I don't know what it is about the action, but it works so much better. That was literally proof right there. We caught 4 on the swing shad, and as soon as we switched to this one, we caught 10 off the same spot. We didn't even have to move. They just kept biting. So it's crazy how a little bit softer or thinner plastic, I'm not sure what they do to the bait to make it better, but there is a difference. It's not as hard as that other one, and it swims a lot better. We caught a lot more fish, and for 35 more cents a bait, I'm still saying that this is a great swim bait option over that Eco Pro one, unless you're on a super tight budget and just need cheap baits. Now we have to get into a bait that costs literally 10 times more than that first bait we started with, and almost 8 times more than the one that we have right here, and see, is it truly worth spending that kind of money to have a soft plastic swim bait? Last up, we have our most expensive bait of the day, and this is the Little Creeper Baby Trash Fish. They do come in bigger sizes as well, but I got the baby version to be able to compare with these ones. It is a little bit different shape of a swim bait, but not every bait can be the same shape as one of these ribbed Keitech swim baits here. So I picked a bait that's in a 4-inch size range that can also match with these baits. Now these come in at a price of $15.99 per pack, which if you were getting 6 or 7 baits in there like you are on some of these other ones, it might not seem that expensive, but there's only 2 in here. So these are $8 a piece for these swim baits. That is a huge jump from 80 cents per piece. That's 10 times more expensive per bait, or even $1.15. That's almost 8 times more expensive per bait. So that is a huge increase in the price of these baits. Now these are hand poured in California. They were actually modeled after a live hitch, which is a bait fish out in California. They literally caught one of the bait fish and molded their baits after those types of bait fish. Now with the packaging here, it seems very, very basic, which usually handcrafted baits are pretty in basic packaging because the baits speak for themselves. But this is just a cardboard header with a little plastic bag, and it doesn't seem like much compared to these ones here. But if you actually look at the back, it has all your color information. It has rigging instructions on the inside. So when you open up this header card, there's a bunch of ways to rig it on the inside of here. And one thing that I noticed with this thing, it has a little keeper inside here that again holds the tails in place. When you put baits in a plastic bag, they get balled up and they don't swim properly. There is a little hard shell keeper thing in here. I don't even know what it's made out of. It looks like it's just a plaster, but it holds the tail in place so that it doesn't get bent or mess up whenever you go to actually fish these baits. For $8 a piece, I would hope I would never get a crooked tail coming out of one of these bags here. But we need to know, is this an actual bait that's worth the money? We got to go get it tied on up front. Let's do a quick action check and see if we can catch some fish with it. So it is time to fish with the Little Creeper Trash Fish here. I'm a little nervous to put this dude on. I know how many snags are down here, and I only have 4 of these, and they cost $8 a piece, which is unbelievable. But we're gonna go ahead and line this up to make sure it fits on here properly. There is 2 different thicknesses of plastic in this bait. One is up near the head to help keep it on a little bit better, it seems like. And then the other one is up on the top and the tail. It seems to make it a little bit softer. There's also a hook channel, but it makes it look like it's broken already, but that'll kind of keep the bait up like that. It actually fits really well on this little swim bait here. This isn't the ideal way to fish it. If you actually look at the package, they don't recommend a swim bait rig at all, but we're gonna see how it works. I mean, it has super nice fins and the tail looks like it'll kick well. The only thing we got to do is get a little action test going and then get this thing in the water to see if we can catch us some fish. It is a little bit different swim bait, so it's going to have a little bit different action. I kind of like it. The tail kicks even better. I mean, it looks like a natural minnow swimming in the water. I don't know if you can see that, but it has like a super realistic wag to it. And the way that they have that designed on that top fin, it makes it look ultra realistic in the water. It doesn't have a lot of kick though. It's very, very subtle. It doesn't do a lot. The head doesn't wiggle at all, and it doesn't kick very well at slow speeds. But again, this is meant to be fished on like an EWG hook and grass, so not probably the ideal setup for this bait, but we're gonna give it a shot anyway. All right, we're gonna get an hour on the timer here. We are gonna start on the same spot again. I wanna see if an action change again will get these fish fired up, because this bait is completely different than the 2 we just threw. Maybe they'll bite again, and then if not, we might start bouncing around to see if we can catch us some other fish. 1 hour on the timer. We're gonna go ahead and get started. I am nervous to throw this thing in there because I do not wanna snag it. $8 for a soft plastic swim bait is crazy. This better catch a lot of fish. I will say the attention to detail though is incredible on this. The way this tail swims with this top fin makes it look super natural. All these fins on here help make the realistic bait look even better, because all these fish will have all these realistic fins. It has gill carvings and an eyeball. I think the realism might help us get some more bites here, but let's find out. First cast, change in bait, first cast. That's insane. Just the realism of the bait made a difference. I can honestly say that because I just made that same cast for 30 minutes straight and caught nothing. And as soon as I put this realistic one on, boom, first cast with it. It's a nice one too. That's insane. I'm not saying it's worth $8 yet, but I mean, that realism, it worked. I'm not lying, it worked. Oh my gosh, did that work? Look at this. Absolutely choked down there. Like completely ate that bait all the way down there. It looks like it held up well. That's gonna, granted the realism worked on cast 1, but how does it do over multiple casts? Does it get more than one bite? That's all stuff we still have to figure out, but oh my gosh, did this fish want it. Bait is still good to go. A little bit chewed up. Though I can't get it out, it's actually down in the fish's mouth. I don't want to take it out anyway, but he has an entire walleye down his mouth. We're gonna throw him back and get back in there. See you, girl. We're talking about walleye. This bait kind of looks like a walleye. Even though it's made to mimic a hitch, it kind of looks like a baby walleye. And that worked on the very first cast. So realism, check number 1. Let's see if we can get more on it. I don't know that this bait is swimming good enough at that really slow speed like that. I don't think the tail is really kicking very well. I can't tell because it's way under the water up there, but it just doesn't feel the same as those Keitechs. And I don't know if it's just that the tail's a little bit thicker or what the deal is, but it definitely does not have the same action. Uh-oh. My bait's already falling off the hook. That's why I'm not getting any bites. That's only been one fish so far. Let's see if we can just jam it back up on there and hopefully it stays. That's not a good sign. Oh no. Don't lose one already. Oh, it came out, nice. That would have been a disaster. Lose an $8 bait after one fish. Got that one. Got that one. This wind is gassing right now, but it's got him biting the swim bait, so I'll take it. Got her. That is a chunky one. That's number 2 for the trash fish, but look at our bait. That's not looking too hot. We'll fix that up in just a second, but that is quite the fish right there. It looks like she had some type of a little bite on her side. Not a bad one. I'm gonna throw her back. That's number 2. We're gonna see if we can get us another one. Our bait is not looking too hot. After 2 fish, that's not great. Again, this would be very easily fixed with super glue, but we're not testing that today. We're gonna put it back up on there. Still looks good, but neither one of the other 2 actually pulled off the hook keeper. Problem is, once you have it pull off the hook keeper, it wears a channel into the bait, and then it just keeps sliding down off and on and off and on. It doesn't like have any grab to it anymore. Come on, stay on the jig head. All right, well, that one's toast. Number 1. Let's grab another. I'll hang on to this one just in case we need it for some reason, but I can't believe that. 2 fish, we already are done with that one. Fortunately, I did buy 2 packages of these, but unfortunately they're expensive and apparently they're not very durable. I really like the bait. I just don't think this is the right application for it, which is also totally fine. Got that one. He wanted it. Feels large. It feels really large. I'm gonna take my time. The realism is really doing well. They seem to want the realistic look for whatever reason. This has got to be a really big fish. Yeah, it's a blimp. Okay. That's a big one. Let's take our time with her. Don't jump. Okay. I might have to land her from the back deck because she's pretty big. Let's go grab her. Oh, she threw up a walleye too. Where'd that go? Oh, it's sunk. She threw up a walleye. It looked exactly like the bait. I was gonna grab it. I'd show you how realistic this thing looks. First of all, that thing's gone. I mean, they want this thing because it is super realistic. It just doesn't swim good enough at slow speeds, I don't think. That is the second biggest smallmouth of the day. Almost as big as the one we caught on the Keitech. We're gonna throw her back, get back in there. Bye, buddy. You got that one. I think it's another big one. Not as big as the last one. I don't want to say that yet. I haven't seen her. She might be large. I can't tell. She's swimming right at me if she is. That's a pretty big fish. She threw up a walleye too. We're gonna land her. They're all throwing up walleyes. Got her. Another tank. They are loving this thing. It looks exactly like what they're eating down there. The realism factor is a thing. Granted, the bait's still very expensive, but the realism factor is a thing. We have caught 4 off a spot that we completely obliterated them for the past 2 hours. This bait seems to be holding up much better on the hook. It's starting to get shredded on the head right here just a little bit, but the actual bait is staying on the hook keeper. Let's throw it back up there and see if we can get another one. Sometimes it pays to have realistic baits, especially on pressured fish or fish that are very dialed in on certain bait fish. It makes sense. And that's probably why this bait was created. Those fish like to eat those hitch out in Clear Lake, California. And they probably figured, let's take a real hitch, make it into a bait. And it probably catches a lot of fish out there. We don't have hitch out here, but hitch can look like a lot of different bait fish. Apparently including walleye. You buy the right color, it can look like your bait fish. Not good. The durability is a concern for sure on this bait. Granted, you can sometimes push it back up on there and still be okay, but for the most part, once they slide down, they're kind of toast. Uh-oh. Got a snag. Came off. Yay. Yep. That's another one down. Not great. Durability. I also think if you used like a screw lock swim bait head, I think that would work fantastic with these baits. Snagged again. Uh-oh. Let's see if we can get it out. I don't know how much more time we have left. We got 15 minutes left, so we'll work up this bank just a little bit. See if we can get any more going up this way. Oh, one ate it off the snag. Unreal. I got one. It was sitting on the rock and one ate it off the rock. Maybe we're not gonna work our way up the bank. We're gonna go back and we're gonna get reset up and catch more fish. That's unbelievable. I literally was snagged. That one definitely was a snag. Let's try and land her. No way, she threw up a walleye too. Unbelievable. Every single fish that I've caught on this bait threw up a walleye. Every single fish I caught on this bait has thrown up a walleye. And they all are the exact same size and shape and color of that bait. That's another 2.5 pound smallmouth. Not a bad one, but we're gonna throw her back. We only got about 15 minutes left, so get her back in the water and see if we can get us another one. Got that one. He smoked it. Looked like a big one. The big ones like this bait. I'm not catching as many, but they seem to be very large when they bite it. I don't know if it's just the realistic. Oh my gosh, it's giant. I think it's just because it's so realistic. If I could just get it to swim properly, it would be deadly. It's giant. Yep, that might be the biggest one of the day so far. Gosh. Don't come off. Don't come off. Threw up a walleye. Got her. Oh my gosh. That's a beast. That's a beast. Look at that. Swim bait right in the roof of her mouth. She did tear it up just a little bit though. She was barely hooked. We're gonna see if we can stick that back on there and get another fish out of it, but it's a little ripped up. Absolutely gorgeous smallmouth though. Massive one. We're gonna go ahead and let her go, and we're gonna try and get us one more before we run out of time. All right, let's see if we can get us one more. Just shove this guy back up on there. I think that was fish number 5, if I remember correctly. That is it. Let's get this bait up here and let's talk about it. Oh, look at that. Pulled it down too. Not a very durable bait. Rigged in this manner. So my final thoughts for both the trash fish as well as all 3 of the swim baits today. Number 1, everyone impressed me. They all caught fish. They all worked really well. I was not confident with the Eco Pro one. I thought it was way too stiff and it wasn't going to catch fish. It still caught fish. But then I think there's something to be said for a softer plastic The Keitech worked so much better on the same spot. And lastly, I think there's something to be said for a realism factor. I mean, this thing looks identical to a live bait fish compared to these other ones. Granted, these can look like little bait fish too, but this thing looks so realistic. It caught much bigger fish. I only caught 5, but 3 of those 5 were over 3 pounds and 1 was over 4 pounds. So it's something to be said for that realistic factor, especially when you're fishing very pressured, very smart fish. They see a million baits, or when they're just feeding on a lot of live baits. If you're fishing around a ton of bait fish, if you throw something that doesn't really look like a bait fish, they're gonna choose the real one. But if you throw something that looks very close to a real bait fish, they might choose this one. Do I think this thing's worth $8 a bait? Maybe. It depends on how you're using it. I think if you used it on a screw lock head and held it on there a little bit better, you'd catch way more fish per bait and make it more worth it. I think if you were to fish this in places like Florida and put it on an underspin or a weedless swim bait hook and fish it through the grass as a realistic golden shiner imitation, I think that's an excellent option for it too. But in the manner we used it today, I do not think it was the most effective way to use it. If I were choosing one of these baits day in, day out to use all the time and catch the most amount of fish, it's still going to be the Keitech. It's really hard to beat that bait. But I don't think you could go wrong with any of these swim bait options from today's video. I will continue to use all of them. If I need a really budget option, $3.99 a pack, the EcoPro is awesome. Day in and day out, Keitech, awesome. When I need a realistic bait fish, I'm gonna keep throwing these trash fish. Just like the last video I did where the frog really impressed me, I'm gonna continue to use that high price point frog and see how it works. I'm going to continue to use this and see how they work and try them in some different ways to see if they can catch even more fish. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you want to see another cheap versus expensive challenge, let me know what bait or rod, reel, line, whatever you wanna see next in the comments below. If you wanna see the last one I did using frogs, check this video out right here. Hit that subscribe button down below, and thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.